Hello, welcome to Books with Brookes. This is Brookes, and I'm here today with my friend Charlie.
Hello.
Hi, Charlie.
Hi.
Hi. We are going to discuss Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I should have practiced my British accent before you got here. Are you prepared with yours?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'll
let you take the lead.
Yeah, I can do posh. I can do what is it, bumpkin or ragamuffin?
Cockney.
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 Yeah.
Great. That's okay. We'll do that.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Great.
So Red, White, and Royal Blue is a book. Do you want to tell us what it's about?
Sure. Let's see. So, the first son of the first female president in the U.S. Winds up realizing he's in love with the Prince of Wales of England, and they have to keep it hidden until, of course, it gets out.
Of course.
And then, figure out what that means for them and their sexualities and their countries and etc.
Who they're going to put first. Like the country or themselves or their parents. Yeah. Heavy stuff wrapped in a sweet little pink little bow. This book is, they're calling it new adult fiction, which is kind of a weird moniker. I guess it means like it's not for kids. It's not for young adults.
Yeah. I enjoy some like young adult sci-fi, like Hunger Games, any of those kinds of books.
Yeah.
But they feel a little... they feel aimed at people college age or less, I'd say.
Yeah.
And new adult sounds a bit more like...
college and up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Because I definitely thought this... Like, I would not give this book to, like, a 13-year-old, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe it has two themes that are too adult.
Too adult, and I feel like the way they... talk to each other and use the internet. Like, we get to see texts and emails in this book.
Yeah.
I think they'd, like, not connect with it because I feel like they're
only on TikTok.
Yeah. I truly don't know any people
young
under,
person.
like, 20 at this point in my life.
Right.
So, I have no idea.
I have nieces and nephews, but I don't really know what they're into. Probably TikTok.
Yeah.
What's the one where you sing? Is that TikTok? No, that's a different one. Musical.ly, I think.
I am not
There's
sure.
one where you, like, lip sync, and I don't know, my nephew was really into that for a while.
I feel like you can do all of that on TikTok.
Yeah, it might be that one is
But
gone.
I think I know what you're talking about, too, because I feel like I've seen a lot of celebrities do it.
Yeah,
Like, the cast of Westworld loves some app where they dub over... themselves.
Yeah. I feel lucky. I was just talking about this with someone. I feel lucky because I feel like I hit the, like, technological revolutions at the right times. Like, I didn't get a cell phone until I started driving. Facebook wasn't a thing until I went away to college. Like, I don't know. Although it is inconvenient sometimes because, like, I didn't get my Gmail address until, like, sophomore or junior year of college. So I don't have anything from before that. Like, I basically don't have a digital footprint from before that because I had an AOL address that no longer exists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's a good thing, though.
Is it?
Because someone was talking about this. It might have been a podcast, but, like, if you weren't really online in middle school or, like, you don't have access to those pictures, like, no one can see, like, how poorly you dressed yourself.
Right.
Or, like, the embarrassing videos you left on your friends' pages.
Yes. No, I totally agree with that. But I just feel like I use Gmail now as, like, partly a memory bank. And it's so easy to just search and find the things you were doing in 2015 or whatever.
Yeah.
But so I don't have any of that from before. I don't know. This is not really relevant to the book, but it's a great discussion. Okay, hey, first question. Did you like the book?
Overall, I did. I liked it and I hated it because there were just some parts that were so sappy.
Yeah.
But I think overall I enjoyed it. I'm a gay man. I like getting to read experiences I can relate to.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's something we're getting to see more and more.
Like in media and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like any new Netflix show at this point has queer characters.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
Yes.
Sometimes it feels a little too much like check off that box with the queer
Shoehorn
one.
this in.
Yeah. But as far as books and novels, I haven't gotten to see too much published.
Yeah.
Mainstream.
Well, I feel
stuff.
the same way. Yeah. I agree. But it was interesting that we had someone at book club who said she had been reading young adult books for like the last year, specifically ones featuring like queer characters or characters of color,
right,
as like the main characters. And she said there's a bunch out there. It's like a ton of new stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it is it sounds like it's different, or it's changing at least.
Yeah.
That idea that like love stories are only about heterosexuals. I've said for years that I'm bored with heterosexual love stories. Like, give me something more interesting. Like, this is tired. We've done it. So I was really, really excited to read this book. Actually, it has amazing reviews. I don't know if you've looked at it on Goodreads, but people like proselytize about this book. They freaking love it. So I was really excited. Unfortunately, I think I have to say I didn't like it in the end.
Yeah.
But I think that's mostly because I just don't really read romance. And this is extremely, like, sappy romantic romance book.
It's beach read level.
Yes. Yeah.
Which, like, is, I think, hard to really relish in February in Chicago.
So true. Although it's Valentine's month, which is why I picked it.
I was going to say.
Love month. Let's read a love story. Last year we read, I think this was before you joined book club, but we read Everything by Nicola Yoon, and it was also kind of a YA like teenage love story, and I also didn't really like that one, so I think it might just be,
unless romance is really your genre, I think you really need to be able to connect with one of the main characters to enjoy it, or it just has to be so well written that like you can't not say it's a smash.
Well, and this book had, like, really good moments and really good lines and, like, some really good dialogue.
Yes.
Like, it definitely, like, it wasn't bad. It just isn't my jam.
Yeah.
I guess, is the takeaway. What are the major themes of this book?
I think you kind of said it.
The cat likes Charlie.
I think you kind of said it before, but kind of family and duty and who do you put first?
Yeah.
That kind of feels like it hits all the major points of it.
Yeah.
And I think there were also some like coming of age notes and kind of being true to yourself, like self-discovery.
Yeah.
Parts.
Yeah, definitely self-discovery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a coming of age. It definitely is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the main character is 20. Is he? Or 21? No, I guess he's older than that because he graduates college.
Yes.
So he must be 22.
Yeah.
So he's 22 in the book. And he's kind of just discovering, not kind of, he is just discovering, like, that he is bisexual and that he, like, can have, like, sexual desire for another man. And so it kind of made it feel like, like a coming of age tale. Because even though he's not, like, 12, he's still sort of, like, having a, like, early, like, an awakening of sorts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I'd say, I mean, I think it's a pretty common experience for queer people that coming of age can kind of be delayed because it's not heteronormative.
Yes.
And, you know, like Alex, he was in denial for a long time about how he felt about Harry or Henry? Henry. Henry the Prince. And he thought it was anger and, like, frustration at how pompous this guy was, but really, he was in love.
He was in love. Yeah, which I think is also sort of like a romance trope, right? Of the, like, the characters who hate each other, but then that really means they love each other.
Yeah.
Like, love, hate. I guess that's where that term comes from.
Yeah.
A love-hate relationship. Yeah. So that felt, I mean, I do feel like the story followed, like, the sort of pre-written, scripted, like, points of a romance.
Yeah.
Or, like, points of a rom-com.
Yeah, there were no unexpected beats, I would say.
Basically not. It was just that she had, you know, made the characters same sex. Which we talked about in book club, like, that we were disappointed that the book didn't, like, buck any of those conventions. But then maybe that was enough, like, to tell a story about a same-sex couple in the same way you would about a heteronormative couple.
Yeah.
And, like, maybe that's enough. Which I think is a really interesting point, and one that I, like, hadn't considered before. So I kind of love that. What did you think about the politics in this book?
That is where it turned into, like, a fantasy novel for me. Yes. In, like, a great way, but also with the country we live in today in the real world is kind of upsetting when you come back to reality.
Yeah.
I mean, I was all for the politics. I love that they turned Texas blue.
They turned Texas blue, baby.
But
that would never happen.
I don't think never, but I mean, just
well, what does that say, though? I mean, that's an interesting point, though. Like, what does that say about where we are today as a society? That, like, the idea of the first son and the Prince of England falling in love and having an openly gay relationship is less unbelievable than the, like, idea that Texas could vote blue.
Yeah, or what is it? A Democrat in office 3 terms in a row.
Yeah, right? Oof. Like, wow, that's where we are. Like, that's where the divisions have formed, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it seems like that means we probably come a long way when it comes to social issues. But then on the political side, maybe we've taken some steps back. It depends on your point of view. I'm not here to preach. But yeah, I also felt like the political stuff was, like, so outrageously not real.
Yeah, it felt a little too fairy tale.
Yes. Oh, yeah, it did. It was a fairy tale I really wanted to live in, but I also felt like just too skeptical to get into it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And maybe we're not new adult enough.
Yeah. We're no longer hopeful.
Yeah, we've got a bit too much skepticism to really...
Oh, so sad. So sad. Well, someone said, and I guess I should have researched this, but Casey McQuiston, the author, wrote this book pre-2016. So I don't think that the author quite imagined the political climate we would all be reading this book inside of.
Yeah.
And I bet at that time, I remember how hopeful I felt.
Oh,
in 2016.
Absolutely.
Like, I can imagine writing this then. You were really hopeful, and you really thought, like, this could be what the future is like.
Yeah. Yeah, reading this then would have been a very different experience.
Yes. I wonder if I would have liked it better, honestly.
Yeah.
Than I did today. I just couldn't treat it. I couldn't treat it like the escape that I think it asked me to.
Sure.
Because I'm so upset about everything that's happening in the world.
Yeah.
All the time. Everything's fine. Everything's okay. Yeah. All right, so you mentioned this, and we talked about it a little bit, but a lot of the relationship development that we get happens in text messages and emails.
Yes.
What did you think of that, like, format?
Overall, I really enjoyed it. I feel like I've read books in the past that kind of will use that as a storytelling method.
Yeah. And
it can really vary between being successful and being kind of just cringy.
Yeah.
But I think, one aspect that I found that made it successful to me was you kind of got to see timestamps.
Yeah.
And because they're across the Atlantic Ocean from each other, you kind of get a different experience.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
Also, imagine reading that. Like, I truly have so much trouble with time changes. Anytime I'm just, like, trying to set a meeting at work, I'm like, oh, God, you're on the West Coast. I don't know what that means. And I'm always having to Google, like, East Coast to what. Anyways, as the author, that had to take a bunch of work.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think she was smart in kind of setting up that they're both
That's fun
kind
detail.
of insomniacs.
I love that. Yeah. And I didn't even notice that. Thank you for pointing that out. That's really fun and would take like a fair amount of like research, I imagine. Yeah, 5:36 a.m. comes an email from Henry. But it's 8:22 p.m. in the response. Yeah. That's so interesting. God, I hate time changes.
Yeah.
Okay, we did a lot of playing hot or not at book club, so maybe we can do a hot or not on here, which is the first kiss on page 107. So they just had this like, okay, which also, side note, this party that they throw, I want to go to it.
Yeah.
Didn't it sound so fun?
It sounded like the Met Gala, but for
young people.
Like political children, like
they seem like they're like living their best lives.
Yeah.
They're having so much fun. They're dancing, they're getting drunk in the White House, they have no worries, like
truly.
I mean, that was another thing. It's just the privilege of these characters is pretty enormous.
Yeah.
Of just like, oh cool, you don't ever have to worry about anything ever again in terms of like paying rent or having a job or like making money.
Yeah. Even just the privilege that they end up together, like that everything works out like it does.
Right. Yeah, we talked about that at book club, which was like that the stakes in this book are presented as if they're really, really high. Like it's the president and it's the king of England. But then in reality, they didn't feel that high because what do these characters like really have to lose?
Exactly.
You know? Okay, but back to Hot or Not. Page 107. The first kiss. They have this badass party at the White House full of like young hotties. And then Alex notices that Henry is like gone missing. And Alex is like getting a little horny for him, but he doesn't know it yet. Yeah. So he goes looking for him and he finds him like moodily gazing into the rose garden, like out on the veranda. And then they have this sort of like weird cryptic conversation where Henry like confesses to liking him, but he's like doesn't understand. And then Henry says, "Christ, you are as thick as it gets," he says, and he grabs Alex's face in both hands and kisses him. Hot or not?
I mean, yeah, I would say so. Like a Christmas party, like, but you're alone with this person that you have all these feelings for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think hot too. Yeah. And they are dressed impeccably, which they kind of are throughout the book. Like again, like especially tonight, they're like in tuxedos and like their hair is coiffed. And, like, you know, like everyone is at a 10. Yeah. This is not some weird like basement, like sloppy makeout experience. Like this is primo. And I think that I could appreciate these scenes for what they were and like kind of get into them, which was just like highly like romanticized, like idolized, like idealized scenarios where you could have sex or make out with someone. Sure. You know, like it's kind of like the start of like a really romantic, like movie or something. I don't know. I think those are my favorite scenes in the book. That felt to me like the easiest to escape into.
They're like intimate moments. Yeah. I think that makes sense. Cause in one way, that's kind of what the whole book is written around.
Yeah. So I think, okay, well, so that was well done. Yeah. I mean, I thought. Like I don't know, like.
I feel like if I were to ever write a romance novel.
You should.
Like, oof. I'm not a writer and never will be. But I think like the first kiss or like some of those first moments I think would be where I'd begin to plot things out. Yeah. And like I'd have that established in my mind and then want to build to that from the beginning and then link all those moments together because like you need those moments to happen, like the first kiss, the first time they have sex, getting caught, like those just, like we said, the rom-com beats.
Yes. Yeah. There's definitely like the pillars of that you know you're gonna encounter in this story. But I feel like I have in early relationships like fantasized about like, ooh, well, what if we had a hot makeout like at this place, or like what if, you know what I mean? Like you kind of think about that stuff, like the polo match one, that one really did it for me. where he's like,
that's it for sure.
Where
hot.
Henry's playing polo, he's riding horses, he's dressed as like, I mean, it's like so romantic. It's so highly stylized. It's so highly idealized. Because like also the thing with that is like he was probably so sweaty. You're just riding a horse for several hours. Like he's sweaty and disgusting. And like while in his little jodhpurs, they like go to a tack room and like get it on. Like if you did that in reality, it would be like kind of sweaty and disgusting. Like it would smell bad. I just feel like this kind of thing like happens in books, and I'm so here for it because it's really fun to imagine those things happening, because I don't think in reality they would live up to what you imagine them to be.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
But I love that one. Where is it?
I just flipped open and was at the part where they have sex at Wimbledon.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's for sure like a fantasy hookup location.
Gotta
like,
be.
Why not? Like, it's tennis.
Right.
The ball's gonna go back and forth. Let's go bang, and we'll get back to the game.
Yes. It's like the trope where, like, you know, if you're gonna hook up in an office or a kitchen, like, someone's gonna sweep everything off the countertop. And it's like, you would never do that. I'd be so mad if someone did that in my office. I'd be like, no, all stuff is expensive. Oh, my papers. Like, it would be terrible. But in a movie, it's, like, so hot and sexy.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter. It's right now.
The only thing that matters is you. Yeah, but that's a fun trope. Okay. Oh, here's another hot or not. So page 1, so they have their first kiss, and then they don't see each other for a long time. And then Henry comes to the White House for like a state dinner or something. And they go into like the next room, and they make out on top of a like buffet underneath a portrait of Alexander Hamilton. And I'll give it a hot rating. I thought it was hot.
I think the portrait of Alexander Hamilton might like ruin it a bit, or like put me too much like in the moment of like, oh, I'm here in the White House. There's a bunch of like foreign dignitaries beyond the next door.
Yes. Yeah. Because it is implied that they're like literally right on the other side of the wall. Like they're like just a sliding door between them. But that's another fantasy thing though, right? I mean, if you're in the White House all the time, like, wouldn't you want to just like make out in there? Just like hump all over it? That'd be like very exciting.
Yes, it would.
You know.
I'd be for it. Like, I wouldn't say no.
You wouldn't say no if the Prince of England tried to make out with you in a state dinner? Absolutely
not. I do think
it comes out.
It's wild how much alone time they're able to get.
Oh, yeah.
Especially as, like, high-profile children of major political figures. Like, they have Secret Service people who are assigned just to them, and yet they're still able to, like, be alone.
Right.
So often.
Well, which, I mean, I guess this probably happens, but they enlist their Secret Service detail to, like, help them with their booty calls.
Yeah.
Which is really uncomfortable.
It's just like, at a certain point, I feel like they'd be like, no, that's not part of my job. Like, you're putting yourself and, like, our head of state, like, head of government, like, in jeopardy because you're trying to get it on. Like, I'm not going to help you with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will pick you up and put you to bed so you stop.
Like, I will lock your door and stand in front of it.
Yeah.
I know, but can they do that? I mean, that's a really interesting question of, like, who's really in charge? Is it the person in charge, or is it the people protecting them? I would imagine these kinds of conflicts arise regularly with people who have who have a, protection detail.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I think the Secret Service in real life, they work for, like, the president. Right. So, like, the president was
protecting the
like,
president's
keep
interests.
my kid in line.
Right.
It's like, you're a glorified nanny with a gun.
Right. Yeah, but interestingly, the president, like, never says that to him.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, because it seems like that would be really, like, fine for her to say. Like, hey, you have to stop this until my campaign is up or whatever. Like,
absolutely.
This is too risky and, like, you have to stop. But she kind of doesn't say that ever.
She's more just like perfect, supportive mom president.
Yeah, she is. She's president mom, definitely. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. What did you think of the speed of their romance?
A little hard to gauge. And I think I have trouble gauging the speed of things in a lot of books because I'm a fast reader, so...
Just plowing through it.
Yeah. So I never am able to get too good of a actual sense of it's been 2 weeks, it's been a month, like... So... I don't know. And because of the special circumstances, like, they don't get to go on dates.
Right.
They're
not just like hanging out,
grab coffee,
all the time.
Yeah. So I mean,
there were little things that bothered me. Like, I know that, like, when guests of the White House come to visit, they don't stay at the White House. They stay at Blair House, which is like a residence expressly for that purpose, like visiting foreign dignitaries. So like the first time they hook up, it's like only possible because he's staying down the hall. And it's like, well, that would never happen. That would never happen.
Yeah.
So there were little things like that kind of took me out of it that were like, I'm familiar enough, or one could say obsessed enough with like the protocols of the royal family and other things that like there's one time he carries his own bag. He wouldn't.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be allowed to. So get those details right. It's all about the details, you know? Okay, so there's a moment where this was actually, I included this as a question for book club for a totally different reason than we ended up discussing it.
Okay.
But on page 265, they're in Texas. They've had this like idyllic weekend at the lake, which I assume is Lake Travis in like near Austin.
Or a fictional equivalent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he brings Henry, and they all just have this like great time, and they drink margaritas, and they like cook, and they lay on the dock, and like it sounds great. I want to go. And then on the last morning, Alex wakes up, and Henry's like bed is empty, and he goes in the kitchen, and he finds a note and says, Alex, had to go early for a family matter, left with the PPOs. That's like the security people. Didn't want to wake you. Thank you for everything. X. And then it says, it's the last message Henry sends him. Which I feel that I should plug. This reminded me so much of the Post-it note in Sex and the City.
Oh.
TV watch. Okay,
No.
never mind. She gets broken up with on a Post-it, and then it kind of reminded me of this. Which is why I wanted to talk about it. Because then I also felt this, like it says, this is the last message Henry ever sends him. I like felt that in my like heart. I was like, oh no, like that is heartbreaking. Like that's stone cold and sad, and like this poor guy. Like, I really, really felt for him at that moment. And I was, like, looking at how much of the book left. And I'm like,
there's,
oh
like,
my
a
God.
solid third of the book
They're not
left.
going to end up together, is what I thought. Then, of course, they do.
Yeah.
So, what did you think about that?
I mean, I don't know. It didn't stand out to me, especially... It didn't stand out a ton to me in the moment.
It didn't catch you?
I mean, it very well could have made me cry a bit. I cried so much at this book, I should say.
You?
But I think I kind of knew, like, I mean, obviously they're, like...
Okay, you knew.
There's more.
I believed it.
Yeah.
Well, which is the point that some other people made in book club, was that, like, this was an unreliable narrator telling us it's the last message Henry sends him. Like, it isn't.
Yeah.
And so it's the last message he sends him for 2 weeks or whatever, like for a period of time. But the way it's presented is extremely final. And I believed it. And I thought, oh no, like that's it. It's over. It was just, it was what it was. And now the rest of the book is going to be Alex like grappling with these new feelings and how to like move on with them. I don't know. What parts made you cry?
Oh my God. I mean, number of moments throughout. I think some of their emails did.
Yeah.
Because they did the really lovely, like, quotes
Quoting
from like
of real...
historical love letters.
Yeah, I liked that.
The karaoke night.
The karaoke night. We didn't even talk about that. The karaoke night I wanted to join in on as well. It sounded really fun.
And then just at the end when they win the presidency again, and when Alex takes Henry to his old house in Austin.
Yeah.
Both of those, like...
They got you.
Yeah.
Aww.
But yeah, I've never cried so much reading a book.
Whoa.
Awful.
That's... Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it did get you. Oh, you know what we didn't talk about? I blew right through it. Is our first sentence. Which actually I want to, because you said something about the first sentence at book club that I thought was so insightful. The first sentence is, on the White House roof, tucked into a corner of the promenade, there's a bit of loose paneling right on the edge of the solarium. And I initially didn't like that sentence because I thought it was really wordy and it was, I don't know, I had to read it a few times. I'm like, what is this saying? But then what did you say? You said something smart.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of likened it back to high school English class when you kind of overread those sentences to find meaning. But, I mean, the way you can look at it, there's kind of something loose in the foundation of the White House, and there's a bit of a secret, there's something to be uncovered. And I mean, that very much relates to Alex.
Yeah.
And I mean, the second sentence, if you tap it just right, you can peel it back enough to find a message etched underneath with the tip of a key or maybe a stolen West Wing letter opener. You can also overread that, Alex had to be kind of poked and prodded in the right way and positioned by Prince Henry to figure out this truth about himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so true. And I like it too because it's kind of the idea of the White House may look perfect, but when you get up close to it, it isn't. And if you get up close to it and you know where to look, you can find the flaws and you can find the secrets and you can discover things that weren't immediately apparent.
Yeah.
Which is definitely true. I mean, I think Alex is like more open, but definitely true about Henry, who I mean, you could probably write the same thing about Buckingham Palace or wherever he lives.
Yeah.
Because he especially is really, really focused on his image and what he portrays to the world. After there was some rumors about him, he goes on a date with a beautiful model who's a woman and stuff, and then he goes on dates with Alex's sister, doesn't he?
His sister, or was it Nora?
One of them.
Yeah, I got them confused multiple times.
I did too. They were kind of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of it too is the White House and Buckingham Palace, right?
Yeah.
They're both institutions that are hundreds and hundreds of years old, and it's 2020. They've started to fall apart, those core institutions, and it's revealing things. It's also letting things change and become something new.
Well, we haven't even talked about Harry and Meghan, which is also a huge part of why I picked this book, because I've been obsessed with following what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they're they're changing the face of the monarchy, right now.
Yeah.
And demanding that it behave differently, and it doesn't want to,
Yeah. A lot of examining tradition and figuring out if it's worth keeping at this point.
Right. Well, I also think, I was talking to someone about this too, but I think public figures today, the level of scrutiny about their lives is so much greater than it ever has been before.
Yeah.
I mean, we basically don't know anything about a lot of former presidents' personal lives. It wasn't covered, it wasn't considered news, it wasn't considered relevant. They could live pretty private lives at the White House, while being president, and that has not been true for, I don't know, probably since Bill Clinton.
Yeah, past 20, 30 years.
So now it's your personal life is relevant.
Yeah.
And people care about it. And it can cause scandal.
Everything you've ever said is up for scrutiny.
Yeah.
And comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have always thought public service sounds like a thankless Sisyphean
Absolutely.
task, but especially today, like, I mean, who in their right mind would want to run for office given yeah, just the level of scrutiny, the level of like always on behavior that is demanded of you. I mean, yeah, it just sounds like really hard.
Yeah.
I guess. Also, if you have to like coordinate with your Secret Service to like get a booty call, I don't know, maybe that makes it more exciting.
Yeah.
Maybe some people get off on that.
Or it even takes some of the pressure off. It's like
You don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Alex kind of does that too. Like when Henry's not responding to him, he like makes his like, I don't know what she is, like his personal secretary like arrange for him to fly to London.
Is that Zara?
Zara, yeah.
I think she was the chief of staff.
Really?
I think so.
Oh, she needs to delegate then because she's like flying around with the president's son to help him hook up with a secret gay lover.
Yeah.
Ooh, don't love it. But yeah, I mean, maybe it would be easier. Well, I also think there was an element of this, which you probably get in a lot of romance novels again, but there was an element of this of like, these characters are so highly desirable that like, they could date anyone.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that again, the stakes of it for me didn't feel as high because it's like, okay, well, if things don't work out with Henry, he can just go date any other handsome man that he wants to, essentially, because he's Alex Claremont Diaz, you know?
For sure.
So it wasn't like we were dealing with characters who like have struggled and like are flawed and like are hard to love. Like they were not those things, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Did we talk about who would play these characters in a movie? Because I am sure this is going to become a movie.
We might have briefly at book club.
I think the problem we had was that we don't know any like actors young enough.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like you need some Disney Channel stars.
Yeah.
Of whom I am yet unaware.
For Alex, I'm pretty sure I suggested Noah Centineo, or he's in To All the Boys I've Loved Before. He's like the current like high schoolish aged like leading guy.
Sure. That's perfect.
Yeah, like him as Alex in my mind definitely works. But as far as for Prince Henry, no one I can think of.
I pictured Armie Hammer, but he's way too old.
Yeah.
Someone said Timothée Chalamet. He's such a noodle.
Yeah. He's like a angsty, edgy noodle.
Yeah. Ooh, you know who could play one of the sisters is Zendaya. I love her.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Because like, which one is it? Well, I guess both of them. But like June is supposed to be like the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. I feel like, so that would be good. Well, I will fully watch it when it's made into something. I meant to Google and see if anyone had bought the rights to it yet.
I'd be willing to bet yes. Like, yeah. Easy.
Do you think that Henry and Alex will be together forever?
A certain part of me says yes because I feel like they'd almost have to be.
Yeah,
like
because they
used their chance or their limit breaking, boundary pushing on being together. No divorces.
Yeah.
No splitting.
Yeah,
like they have to figure it out, be together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, and I do feel like that's how the royal family approaches relationships anyways. Like it was such a scandal when like Diana and Charles got a divorce and it's like not really allowed. Yeah. So like I feel certain that the queen is like, cool, you guys are getting married, like that's it. Can't undo it. Like done.
Yeah.
And so I mean I guess they didn't get married in this book, but I feel like they approached it in the same way. Like if we're gonna give our blessing to this, like then it's got to be forever.
Yeah. They might, like, separate and put on heirs or something.
Right. I know, but it doesn't seem like that's something these characters would do.
Yeah.
Because at least not Alex. Probably Henry would.
Yeah.
But Alex seems like he's way too, like, being true to himself is the most important thing.
But also he's 22, so I think...
Right. How much is he going to, like, learn?
Yeah.
In the interim.
I'm too cynical for
I know,
book
me too. No, that's the problem. And I have felt bad lately because I'm like, we always talk... Maybe we should start differently with book club, but we always start with the, like, did you like the book conversation? Which I think is a really... I like to force the point because I want people to self-evaluate before they hear everyone else's opinions.
Yeah.
So that's why
and
we do
occasionally
the voting.
People's opinions do change as we talk about it.
Yes, they do. But I think when you're reading, like, it's helpful and good to finish a book and then reflect upon your experience with it and what you liked and what you didn't like, if you enjoyed it, if you would recommend it, like those kind of simple questions, which, you know, are subjective and based on tons of different factors. But so I like to force people to make that call before we sit around and dissect.
No, I think
book.
that makes sense.
Because I have felt like lately, like, the people who've said yes about books have left feeling like, well, now I don't like it anymore because we just, like, picked it apart. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. But also, you know, some of the easiest stuff to talk about in a book is what you didn't like about it.
Yeah, because it's what stands out.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's what you, like, notice. Okay, so on that note to end, what did you really like about this book?
I think she really nailed the communication and the, like, love between friends and family. And, I mean, that Alex was so supported. I mean, that's probably something else that just made me weep.
Oh.
But, you know, there were some really sweet parts that were super cute. So I think as a whole, just like the relations, they worked as a whole. The dialogue less so, but the relations, yes.
Yeah. I think I really liked, well, I was and continue to be obsessed with the premise of the book. I think it is so fun. It's basically like fan fiction.
Yeah.
But I love that. It's like fan fiction that became real and now we've all read it and like it's so cool. So I love the premise in that it's simple. The first son falls in love with the Prince of England. It's illicit love. But it's also like so fantastic and like so blown out and like so explored. How would that work? How would they do it? What would their clandestine meetups be like? Where would they happen? Like,
yeah.
It was well explored and fun based on just a simple premise. So I think that's what I liked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, anything else that we didn't touch on?
I think we really hit it all.
I think we did.
Yeah.
So are you going to recommend this one?
I am. Not blindly, like to very select people.
Yes.
But yeah, I'd totally recommend this. Beach read. Oh,
beach read, definitely. If you want a beach read, this is the one for you.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. Books with Brookes on Instagram. Let me know. Oh, we picked our book for March is the next month. Our book for March is The Firm by John Grisham.
I'm excited for it. I need to pick it up.
Have you read any John Grisham?
Never.
Okay. I know that I have, but I couldn't tell you which ones, and it was a very long time ago. Yeah. So I'm excited to test the waters there. The Firm is like kind of the book that established the legal thriller genre in 93, I think. I don't have my notes in front of me, but I think it's 93. So it should be, you know, I suspect it's going to have aged quite a bit in terms of like how people work.
Yeah,
who is working, technology, that kind of stuff. But hopefully the mystery and thriller part of it will still be like very fresh. Yeah. Cool.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks for being here, Charlie.
Yeah, thank you.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
Okay, go and read. Goodbye. Books with Brookes is in the Press Play Podcast Network, and our theme music is by Jonathan Allen.